Hello, my sweet and precious seventh graders. I hope you guys are doing well. We're going to talk today about my favorite thing, proportions. We've been talking a little bit about ratios, right? Ratios comparing two different things using a fraction bar like this. Like say, you get 6 apples for $12. How much would each apple be? So this is a ratio, right? We're going to be comparing ratios now, not just comparing two things, but comparing ratios. Those are called proportions. Proportion. Before I go on, if you're following along at home, second edition, Saxon 8-7, we are on lesson 39. A proportion compares, and if you're in my class, you need to be taking notes, which means writing these things down. Compares two ratios. Two ratios. All right, guys. When I show you these examples in my book, or from the book in my video, it's because I'm showing you how I want you to work the problem, okay? As always, you have to write things down, right? So you got to write the problem down. Let's do this. Let me tilt it a little bit. Tilt this guy. There we go. Okay, so example number 1. Solve this proportion. 12 over 20 equals n over 30. Well, first things first, we can always reduce our proportion here. Do you see that? If we cut those in half, we would have 6 over 10. We can cut that in half again, right? So that's 6 over 10. Cut that in half again, we have 3 over 5. So we're going to rewrite this proportion, right? This is one way of doing it, by the way. There's a couple different ways. 3 over 5, right? Because we've divided both by 4, equals n over 30. What do I need to multiply 5 by to get 30? 6. So if I multiply this by 6, I get n equals 3 times 6, which is 18. 18. So that's one way of doing it. If you do it that way, make sure I see that you've reduced it and I see what you're multiplying it by. Basically, just show your work, right? The other way of doing this is 12 over 20 equals n over 30. Now, you can go ahead and just multiply this times this, which gives you, this is called cross multiplication, cross multiply. When we have fraction equals fraction, we can cross multiply. So this times this gives us 20n equals 12 times 30. Well, we know 12 times 3 is 36 with an extra 0 on it. Do you see that? 12 times 3 is 36 with an extra 0. Now we are multiplying something by n, or something 20 by n, 20 by something, to give us 360. So if we do the opposite of multiply, which is divide, these guys cancel out, okay? This cancels out over here, and we're left with n equals 36 over 2. Again, we can reduce that by cutting that in half, and we get 18. Okay, so there's two different ways of doing it. Whatever way you pick, just make sure that I see all of your work, please and thank you. Okay, so for example number 2, we have 15 over x equals 20 over 32. 20 over 32. Again, this fraction, both of those are even numbers, right? So we can at least cut those in half, and we end up with 10 over half of 30 is 15, half of 2 is 1, so that would be 10 over 16. Reduce that down again, we get 5 over 8. So what we have is 15 over x equals 5 over 8. Well, what do I need to do to 5 to get 15? Well, I need to multiply that by 3. 5 times 3 would give me 15. So if I multiply by 3 up here, I have to multiply by 3 on the bottom. So if I do that, I get 8 times 3, which is x equals 24. 24. Another way is after you've reduced, or even before, you can cross cancel or cross multiply. I've been saying cross cancel so much I'm stuck on that. So when we look at this, we have 5 times x, which gives me 5x equals 15 times 8, right? So we get 15 times 8, which gives me 120. Okay. Take 120. Just want to make sure I didn't make a mistake there. And so then we would divide this side by 5, divide this by 5 side by 5. These guys cancel out, and x equals 24. So both methods we get 24, right? Now, with that said, this method is nice and convenient when we have two things that go into each other evenly. When we have a situation where they do not go into each other evenly, that's when you've got to use this cross multiplication, okay? So it's good that you know both methods. All right, guys. So that is it for my example problems. All you've got to do now is turn to page 235, and the practice problems A through F are up at the top. I'll go ahead and show those to you so you can pause it if you need to. Those are the practice problems. Go ahead and do those. Come on back. All right, so A over 12 equals 6 over 8. I'm going to rewrite this. 6, these guys can be reduced. Cut these guys in half. I get 3 over 4, right? So 4 times 3 would give me 12, which means 3 times 3 gives me 9 over here. So A equals 9. A equals 9. Let's look at B. 30 over B equals 20 over 16. Again, we can cut these in half. We can actually divide by 4, right? Divide this by 4, we get 5. Divide this by 4, we get 4. So what do I need to multiply 5 by to get 30? Times it by 6. That gives me 30. If I do it on the bottom, I'm going to have to, or if I do it on the top, I'm going to have to do it on the bottom. 4 times 6 gives me 24. 24. For C, 14 over 21 equals C over 15. All right, so looking at this, I can see that 14 and 21, those both have 7 in common. So if I divide by 7, I get 2. Divide by 7 again down here, and I get 3. So what do I need to multiply 3 by to get 15? Times that by 5. If I do it on the bottom, let's do it on top. If I do that, C equals 2 times 5, which gives me 10. All right, D. 30 over 25 equals 24 over D. Let's see if we can't reduce this down. We can divide both the top and bottom by 5. I get 6 and 5. What do I need to multiply 6 by to get 24? 6 times 4. If I do it on top, I'm going to have to do it on bottom. If I do that, I get D equals 5 times 4, which is 20. Good. E. 30 over 100 equals N over 40. Well, let's first do this, lob off some zeros, right? So we have 3 over 10 equals something over 40. What do I need to multiply 10 by to get 40? Times that by 4. What I do on the bottom, got to do on top. 3 times 4 will give us N, so N equals 12. M over 100 equals 9 over 12. Well, I can divide both the top and bottom by 3 here. If I divide this by 3, I get 3. If I divide this by 3, I get 4. What do I need to multiply 4 by to get 100? Think quarters. If you have 4 quarters, you have $1, right? Let's multiply that by 25. What I do on the bottom, I'm also going to have to do upstairs. Multiply this by 25, I get 100. Multiply 25 times 3. Think if you have 3 quarters, you have 75 cents. All right, guys, that is it for this lesson. Nice, short, quick, to the point. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, great work.